My first introduction to you that I actually acknowledge is New Rockers, Leaf Cassidy.
Uh-huh.
And recently, Dark Side of the Ring did a whole episode on Marty Jannetty, and you were involved
Yeah.
as well. How do you feel like that Dark Side of the Ring treated Marty's career? Because I know a lot of people I've talked to about Dark Side of the Ring, they love it or they hate it.
Yeah. They're going to focus on the salacious, but I think they, by allowing me to be in there as well, I think, and Mike, one of the Texas Hangmen, I think we were allowed, it allowed us to shift the focus to the positive of Marty and, um, and try to help wrestling fans maybe, I don't know, gain better appreciation of Marty and more respect for Marty and his contributions. And I just don't think Marty gets the acknowledgement that he deserves, for his talent, his ability. I don't think he, I don't think he gets the acknowledgement of from where he came to where he was, um, what he accomplished. And I think Marty's demons, which ultimately are only a threat to Marty. Do you know what I mean? Marty's only been his own worst enemy. He's never been, to where someone else suffers. Um, and I think, people focus on that more than they do on, all of the positives of Marty, and that's disappointing. It's a shame,
Yeah, because if
it's
you
too
go back
bad.
to watching the Rockers matches, Marty sticks out more than Shawn Michaels ever did.
Oh yeah,
And I don't
unquestionably.
I don't know where and how this barbershop incident happens. Was Marty rubbing people the wrong
Marty
way
wasn't
backstage? No
Marty
idea.
was Marty wasn't as astute backstage as Shawn, and that really also plays a factor in the wrestling business. Not saying that it's wrong. I mean, it's the business. You know what I mean? And Marty wasn't astute backstage, and he was his own worst enemy. And if you look at this truly like a business, and where you're investing time, money, and effort into a performer, and the performer, is now unreliable, is a, you know, potentially a publicity hazard, etc. Well, it limits and changes your perception of what you can do, you know, with that performer, you know.
Yeah.
So the wrestling business, I say this all the time, the wrestling business is like every other business, and it's like no other business. For instance, if you get a franchise, a Jimmy John's franchise, your product or your sandwiches, all you have to do is you do the same thing we do in wrestling. You market your sandwiches. You're saying that your sandwiches better be good enough to where you can sell them. You know, that's it. In the wrestling business, human beings are your are your sandwiches, and your sandwiches have emotional issues. They have personality problems. They have egos. They have insecurities. They have neuroticism. They have egotism, narcissism, and they all have their own agendas. And you've got to manage all of those things, to motivate a paying public to want to see them, and in spite of themselves sometimes, you know, and um, and that's really the challenge. That's what makes professional wrestling different, and at the same time makes it so amazing because the more broken a person is, the more charismatic sometimes and the more connected they are with the audience.
That's true too. Yeah, I wonder if in today's world, if Marty existed starting now with the Rockers and so on and so forth, what would be the reaction to random slights in people's lives? Because it seems like in today's world, at least through Twitter, which isn't real, but they like to like bring you down, but then they want to build you back up. And then maybe then they didn't have Marty wouldn't have the fan support he would have now because they would be a vocal group defending him, being like, well, he's a really great wrestler, because there are plenty of people who became superstars on top of the world who have done terrible things, but those were pushed
True.
down versus some other people who were, exposed like
And not just in wrestling. I mean,
our life.
in all, just in, the entertainment, the public field, there are lots of people that are have a public identity that really, quite honestly, have done absolutely, and that's the thing with Marty. Marty's never done anything that is, the only person that's been victimized by Marty is Marty, but there have been people that are in the public identity that in all walks of life that have victimized other people and haven't been persecuted quite so much as Marty has, and I think Marty's an easy target, and it's too bad. It's disappointing,
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's just, and again, it's not because I have any bias, because I don't, you know, it's just being honest. Like, I really feel like Marty contributed more and was more of a star than people give him credit for.
Agreed. Agreed. I one final thought about Marty though is I
Mm-hmm.
think as Marty Jannetty, if I was Marty Jannetty, and for a lifetime since the Rockers has been over, people say in any tag team that any exists, doesn't matter what tag team they are, they say who is Shawn Michaels and who's the Marty Jannetty. And I think if
True.
I was Marty Jannetty, that would make me feel I would feel depressed. I'd feel sad that they're comparing me to
Oh,
the lower half of a tag team. Like that would
yeah,
be detrimental.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, that, everything, as I've gotten older, I realize more and more everything is, the most valuable thing you have in life, more than anything else in your life. Not, your children, obviously, your family, obviously, but for you personally, the most valuable thing you have in life is your name. You have your legacy, and that is, you when I'm 60, so the clock's running down, so I'm not going to get more time to build another name or build another reputation or build, you know uh, perception, that I can leave behind, a legacy that I can leave behind. You get it and that's it, and it's got to be very disheartening and frustrating for Marty that, he's looked at, as far as his legacy, like, well, you don't want to be the Marty Jannetty of the team. When really, quite honestly, if you really understood and knew what it was to perform, you would want to be the Marty Jannetty of the team, because without the Marty Jannetty of the team, there wouldn't be no Shawn Michaels, you know, and that's too bad. I mean, it really is too bad, you know. And I talk about that, on the not, and quite honestly, not using this as a way to promote the
No.
Netflix series, but I talk about that quite a bit, about the fact that this is, and OVW is my name. It's my legacy. It's what I'm leaving behind. I'm, if 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 OVW succeeds, we all succeed. You know what I mean? If OVW fails, Al Snow fails. That's it. As far as the wrestling business is concerned, It's me because I'm the guy. So I'm the guy that killed a territory, a company that has existed for 30 plus years once I took over, you know. So it's kind of a stressful situation to say the least.